Hey everybody, Wayne here. Today we're going to do a partial playthrough. The game takes a little while to play, so we'll do a partial playthrough of Operation Ichi-Go, the Solitaire game. I have a unboxing already, and I've done a overview, an in-depth overview, a little more in-depth than I intended, but that's because I ended up not doing this playthrough as part of that video, with a review at the end. So please, if you want to kind of see how the game plays, maybe a little more in detail or just an overview of it. Either way, check that out. Check out a review for my actual thoughts on the game, good and bad. I said it was good, but not great, and I stand by that. Otherwise, we're going to get in. We're going to play a couple turns and just kind of see how the game actually works. So I have it all set up already. There's some things that will be off the video just because, hex counter game with a big map. There's something, it's really hard to get it all on video for you guys to actually see any detail. So the main area of focus anyway will be around here, kind of where my hand is. As I am at the Japanese forces attacking, spawning here at these different points, mobilizing from these cities, and attacking the different air bases here. So again, some of them I know down here, especially the bottom left here, will be off map. Also, the track with the strategic points and 10 cell will be off track. I'll just try to explain it, talk it out loud as I play. So let's dive right in. I've already covered everything in the other video, so we'll start playing. All right, begin the game. All set up here. Phase 1, strategic phase. So I have strategic initiative, so I roll 2d6 plus 2. 5, 6, or excuse me, 2d6 plus 6. So 6 plus 6, so I get 12 SPs, strategic points. So I went ahead and my little counter and placed it on the 12 on the track. All right, phase 2, Japanese CEA mobilization phase. So that is the red on white. Let's go ahead and begin mobilizing. We'll mobilize Nanchang. So I'll spend 1 SP to mobilize Nanchang. Means I get, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep, 4 counters. We're definitely going to do, so we'll place our 3 adjacent. So we'll do the 1, 4, and a 4. So a total of a 9 strength army here, 9 strength stack. And this last, actually that's a 2, isn't it? Yeah, so never mind. We're going to take that 1. We're going to put the 1 on the stack, or on the actual city as a garrison, and we're going to take that 2. So now we're at a 10. 10 strength. That's not too bad to start with. All right. We'll spend another SP. Let's go ahead and mobilize Fuzhou here, over here. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we got here 4, 4. And that's what I like to do. I like to look at my armies. Let's see what, ooh, a tank. There we go. So we're definitely going to use that tank. So we'll take the 4 and the 4 and the tank. Where should we go? I'll take a couple turns to, either way, it's going to take a little bit to get moved. So let's go. Let's start right in this hex right here. And we'll place that 4th one on it to show it's a garrison. All right. We'll spend another SP to activate Xinjiang as a mobilization city. 1, 2, 3, 4. Flip them over. We got here. Okay, not as good there. Let's go ahead and put them here, adjacent. Alright, so we're down to 9 strategic points, by the way. Yeah, I'll put that last one up on there, on the city for its garrison. Spend another SP. Let's activate yes, Hunan. 1, 2, 3, 4. Perfect. Not very good though. Not very good there. 4, 2, and the other 2s were, well, there's no other 2s, just a 1. So 4, 2, and 1. So 7 strength. Not super great, but that's okay. Right there. All right, so that's down to what we're down to 8. Okay. We want to save some if we get into some fighting here. Let's see, how far is he gonna go when he gets his movement? He'll go 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I mean, he'll have some fighting, but we just want to get a bunch of armies on the map for sure. All right, let's go ahead. We'll spend another. And we'll spend 1 more SP here. We'll activate Wang Zhao. 1. There we go. It's 4. All right. 4, 4, and 1. It's all right. 9. 9 strength army. It's not too bad. Place that adjacent as well. right here, and we'll put that 1 on top of him. And now what we'll do, that will finish up the CEA, Chinese Expeditionary Army. Remember the red on white we just did? We'll finish up that mobilization phase. We'll go on to the KA phase, which is the black on white, and we'll activate, again, he's off map. Kai Fang is up here, north of, or off, I should say off map, but off video screen, I believe. And that costs 2 SPs, so we drop from 7 to 5, so we're down to 5 strategic points. But we're going to activate Kai Fang, which lets us do 3 from here. And with these, we don't do a garrison, we just go ahead and draw 3. So these are our 3. Oh, nice, and a tank. Yeah, they got a lot of tanks in this army, so perfect. 4-4 tank. And you won't be able to see it, but this line here is a railroad. We're going to go ahead and place him on the railroad. It doesn't really help with movement, unfortunately, other than it just makes sure movement is 1. So we'll go ahead and put him on the railroad up here. So, all right, we're down to 5 SPs. We mobilize a bunch of armies. I think we're good on mobilization. Let's go to the phase 4, Japanese movement phase. Now, as part of mobilization, you get an initial mobilization move. In future turns, you can do an operational maneuver, which is 1 SP to activate a stack to move the different units. So we have our initial mobilization move on everybody. They get more movement points during the initial mobilization than the operational. So let's go ahead and do that. We get 5 movement points. Clear Hex is 1. Railroad is 1. This is rough terrain. It's 2. Going to airbase is 3. Crossing a river ends movement. So let's go ahead and we'll start here. This stack 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So then I'll rotate them just to show he's moved. This stack here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Here, so it's not too bad. Now we'll have this stack from Nanchang. Here's where we get close to that airbase. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Now the airbase number is 3, so we can't move onto it. She's just going to be stuck here. Rotate him. Up here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Rotate him. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Rotate him. And then the KA army, Kwantung, actually gets 7 MPs as part of their mobilization move. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And if necessary, you can move through units for movement. It's fine. You just can't end up stacked with them, especially opposite army, but also just you can only have 3 units in a stack. So, all right, that's our movement. We got all of our guys moved. Yep, all of our stacks. So this is it for movement. So I'll go ahead and just write them. I know not probably the most exciting thing to see on a video as I rotate stacks around, but you know when you're playing a hex encounter game, it's kind of part of it. You know, so I'm sure anyone who's played, if you played a bunch of them, you're used to it. If you haven't played a bunch yet, dive in. They're a lot of fun. Hex encounter generally, I think, is even more fun to play than to video or record, whatever. It's when you do some of the other ones that can be just as good on video, but that's okay. We're having some fun here, right? You guys get to see the game in action. So you can see we spawned our different stacks of Japanese armies. We're moving. We're closing in on these air bases right here. In fact, we're adjacent. So now let's go into phase 5, Chinese action phase. Roll for Chinese airbase responses. However, one of them we don't need to worry about rolling for. It's this airbase, Suchan airbase, last ditch resistance. Because I'm only 1 hex away, I get to go ahead, draw 5 out of here. 2, 3, 4, 5. And you get to pick the 3 strongest, which is not the usual. It's only on the last ditch. Oh, not good for them. Look at that. So the 3 strongest, 2 zeros go back, is a 2, a 1, and a 1. Now, what I like to do, just to make it, I don't know, I think it's open stacks. I think you can read, Fog of War style. What I do, though, is I set them, yes, clearly, I know what they are offhand, but I like to set the strongest one on top, and then I don't look at the rest of the stack until I have to, like for combat, for determining odds. Not odds, but determining combat strength. So, for instance, in this case, I'll just leave it like this. And that way, in the future, as you have more stacks, you kind of forget what some of them are. So I think you should have a general idea how strong they are. For instance, it says a 2 on top, but at the same time, I should know the exact strength. This is just my opinion. So that's how I play it anyway. All right, so that airbase is done. And if you remember from my overview, if you watch that, I like to use these markers that come with the game. They're for control markers. You don't use them in this game at all, technically. However, I use them as I mark off the air bases that I've done the Chinese airbase response from. That way I don't forget if I've done it before. So All right, here's one as well. So this airbase here, let's go ahead and do this airbase. Hangang is 1, 2, 3. So that's the closest. So looking on our chart, 3 hexes away. Let's go ahead and roll. Roll the 2. That means we draw 2 counters. And I'll go ahead and put them adjacent. All right, so he went. Now, we'll look at this airbase. So you do from closest to farthest away. He's the closest, 1, 2, 3, 4, closest to him. So we'll mark him off. We look on our chart. 4 hexes away is determined resistance. We roll a 2 again, so 2 counters. And depending on the chart, there's different amounts that will appear. Got a 1 and a 0, so not very good. We'll go and place it here. Generally, what you're trying to do is you place them adjacent to the stack, but you're trying to be closer with them in between. Obviously, there's already 2 stacks, so they can't go there, so it's giving me that stack or that stack. I'm just choosing that stack. It doesn't really matter. Okay, so that one as well. Now we'll go ahead over here. There's this, and they're going to get, this pile, because it's our stack here, because it's closest, is going to get ganged up on, and that's just kind of part of the game. So this airbase here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5 hexes away. It's still that determined resistance. We're going to go ahead and roll on there. A 5. Ooh, so that's 3 counters. And if you look, the closest that's also going to be open is this hex here. So I said 3 counters, right? Yep. So 2, 0, 0. So not good, though, for them. All right. Go and check this. I think this one may be closer to the other stack, though. Let's see. So if you guys can see that on camera. Yin Yang. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, it has to be within 7. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so he will spawn on him. So we'll go ahead and place our marker on him. He's 7 hexes away, so we're going to roll to see. Light resistance. I rolled a 5, which is 1 counter. If he had rolled a 1 or 2, there would be no counters. So we'll place 1 counter in between, just to kind of slow him up there. Other than that, let's see. Guilin down here, if you guys can see it. I don't know if it's on the screen because I'm sitting away from my camera a little bit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so he will roll as well. And then he'll be the last one. There's 2 more air bases down this way, but they're obviously farther away, beyond 7 hexes, so they're not going to roll for any sort of response. But this one will, on the light resistance. And he rolls a 1, which means no counters. So no counters drawn. So that's it for Chinese response. Perfect. Now what you would do is you would do Chinese movement. All Chinese stacks that survive from last turn, if they're not currently adjacent to a Japanese unit, will then move 2 hexes to the closest Japanese unit or closest mobilization city. So, Fuzhou, Nanchang, etc. To try to capture them. But they all just spawned, so they're just going to sit there for now. Now we go into phase 6, the combat phase. We start first. We get to go ahead and choose who we want to attack, which in this case, I very much want to attack the air base. So we're going to do this combat first down here and that one up there. So I want to attack that air base because, well, I want to take over the air base. Let's go ahead and check our stack here. And we'll check their stack as combat begins. Now we build the dice pool. Each side gets 1 die to start with. Then we check for tanks. I do not have any tanks, so no worries there. Then we'll check for strength. Who has a higher strength? I have 10 strength points. They have 4, so I win that one. Now we'll roll for air support. Straight 1d6 each. They get a +1 because if they're within 5 hexes of an air base, which they are literally on an air base, so they will definitely get that +1. All right, so it's a tie, except they win. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to spend 1 in my SPs, so I go from 5 to 4 strategic points to automatically win air superiority. So I get my die. And yes, you can do that after the die roll. So it kind of helps you. You can wait to win. If you don't win, you go ahead and spend that point to do that. So, all right, so I have 3 versus their 1. I think that'll be plenty good. Let's go ahead and roll and see what happens. Ooh, it's close, but we did it. So our highest die versus their highest die. Our highest die was a 3. Their highest was a 2. That means we have a decisive victory, which means we go ahead and eliminate the bottom counter or weakest counter from their hex, and I flip it over onto its circle and just place it aside because later on it may go back into their pool. Then you take the other 2 armies, other 2 units, put them in their reinforcement pool. Then our guys get to advance after combat. Now, the nice thing about advance after combat, first of all, we get to move onto that airbase. We get to capture an airbase, which means no worry about that intensity level going up this turn. Yay! But also, so say if we were on the defensive, or we were being attacked, we had to retreat. I shouldn't say on the defensive. Say we had to retreat. We were here and we had to retreat. We had rolled horribly and we had to retreat. If we had gone to one of these hexes here, which are really the only places to retreat, we'd still be adjacent to a Japanese stack, which means our whole stack would have been eliminated. Or Chinese stack, excuse me. Fortunately, when you advance after combat, as we just did, no worries about being adjacent, although on their turn, or I should say their half of the combat phase here, so I should say, they're going to get to attack us. So we'll see that shortly. So we took their base, very nice. We have this stack up here. Let's go ahead and attack them. We're going to whoop on them. So pretty standard here. Let's start off. And you always want to check terrain. Like their base, for instance, I messed up. I just realized the airbase technically was double their defenses, so that they were at what, 2 SP, 4 SP, whatever it was. They actually would have, I forget what it was. They would have doubled it. So they have 3. I can't remember. The point is, it doesn't matter because they would. I know we had more than. That's why I didn't worry about it when I thought about it. But they actually double it when you're on an airbase, so that's my bad. So you double the defense when they're on an airbase. The Chinese are, or if you're attacking across a river, the defender gets a double there. Otherwise, there's no other terrain effects on combat other than attacking across a river, defender doubles. Or if you as the Japanese are attacking the Chinese in an airbase, they get to double their defense. So just remember that for the future. Oops. Hey, I'm not perfect, guys. You know that. It happens. Make some mistakes. That's okay, though. It's okay. We keep playing. We keep having fun. No big deal. So that said, he's in clear, so no worries there. Plus, even if he doubled his 1, it would become a 2, so no big deal. So 1 starting die each. I have no tanks, so no worries there. Clearly, I have the greater strength, so I get another die for that. Let's roll for air support. 4 to their 2, so it means I get the die. So I'm not going to worry about that. I'm not going to spend any SPs, anything like that. I think we're going to be good. Let's go ahead and roll. Ooh. So as of right now, as you can see, it is a tie. And then our second die is greater. So what it would be, where'd my rule go? There it is. Alright, so this would be highest single die for one side, highest singles die tied, exhausting win. Both sides, highest die tied. One side has more highest dice, exhausting win. So it'd be an exhausting win for us. I kind of don't want that to happen, though. We're going to attack twice down here, though. You know what? We're going to let it happen. So we're going to do what's called an exhausting win. So, really, should we do that? Yeah. All right. So we have to eliminate one of our units, the lowest. We get to pick. Clearly, I'm going to pick the weakest. And then their unit is eliminated as well. Their weakest unit is eliminated. And then the rest would go back in the pool. They only had 1 unit, so no big deal. And I don't get to advance after combat. So I kind of didn't want to do that, but I only have 4 strength points left. Or excuse me, strategic points. SP is strategic points. And I want to save them for when our stack down here on the airbase gets attacked twice. So, yeah. All right. So that's it for our combat. We had our 2 stacks that were adjacent. That was it. We did our combat. So now the Chinese will do their combat. Every stack of theirs that is adjacent to one of our stacks is going to attack, which up here we eliminate. So no worries. So right here they have these 2 stacks. So let's go ahead and do them both. We'll start with this one closest to the right here just because he's going to attack us in the airbase. Now, he only has a 1. I know we have 10. We don't get any bonus for the airbase. However, he is attacking across a river. If you can see the river there, that does help us. So our 10 becomes a 20. Although this would be part of what I've talked about before, where even though we have 20 SPs and they only have 1, we still only will have the 1 strength die bonus over them. So kind of is what it is. So let's set it. Start off with 1 die each. No tanks for us. Strength, we get the 1 die, even though it's 20 to 1. We only get 1 die for that. Bummer. Now we roll for air support. And they want air support. So, for instance, right now, if you look, and I had mentioned this in my overview, one of my things is, one of my quirks of the game, I'm like, so their 1 strength is attacking across a river against my now 20 strength because of across the river, and they roll the same amount of combat dice? I don't really like that. But it is what it is. So what we're going to do, though, we're going to spend 1 of our SPs, drop down to 3, And we're going to gain that air support die, so we're going to take that from them. Replace with ours, though. So boom. So now we're 3 to 1. Let's go ahead and roll 3 dice to 1. I'm happy with that. Boom. We rolled a 6. They rolled a 4, so we have the higher die, so we have a decisive victory, which means they eliminate their weakest unit, which is the 0. And the strong one goes back in the reinforcement pool. And then our stack just sits here. Actually, I better leave them out, though, because it's going to get attacked. So now they'll attack with their other adjacent stack right here. That's a 6 and a 3. So 9 versus our 10. So start off, 1 die each. No tank. Still no tank. Didn't just appear, unfortunately. For strength, we have 10. They have 9. Remember, even though we're on an airbase, we don't get to double our defense. That's only for the Chinese. So, but we are still technically higher, so we get a die for that. Now let's do a little roll off for the air support. 5-2, so they win air support. However, with I have 3 SPs left. I'm going to use one of my SPs, dropping down to 2 SPs, and I'm going to go ahead and steal air superiority. So now I'll be 3 to 1. Let's go ahead and roll. All right, boom. So I had a 6 and they had a 1. So clearly I win easily. So they're going to go ahead and eliminate their lowest value unit, lowest strength, which is a 3. The 6 goes back in the pool, and I stand strong, owning this airbase, basically. So, yeah, so that was it for the combat phase. Now we go, I see, there's no adjacent stacks left. So we go to the victory determination phase or the determination phase. Check for captured air bases. We have not captured all 8, so we don't win. Adjust the intensity level. If you did not capture an air base, increase the intensity level by 1. No worries. We captured Suchan air base, so we go ahead and sit tight here. Means there's no invasion of Formosa, no reduction of anything, so we're all good here. U.S. strategic aid to China. Roll 1d6, randomly move that many Chinese units from the eliminated pool to the reinforcement pool. You can't see it because it's off the screen, but if I kind of slide them over a little bit. There's 4 units that I have eliminated. There they are. 4 units I've eliminated. And I have them upside down, so that way they're random, so I have no idea what they are. Let's go ahead and roll for their reinforcements. 6, so, alright, so all 4 of them, clearly there's only 4, so that's the max, get to go back in. So here's where example where you can see where the Chinese are very tough defenders, because you may eliminate a bunch of them because you have the advantage of the player and you get to use stratagems, things like that. Well, they just got all their eliminated units back. And remember, I did lose a unit earlier. So technically, I still lost it. All right, there's a Chinese armor recovery. Roll 1d6 per stack to see if they, +1 within 5 hexes in our base, to see if they gain a unit. So 6, so he's going to gain a unit, recovery, if you will. Now, he is maxed out with 3 counters. So he's going to place a new counter in an empty adjacent hex. Now, as I mentioned before, I like to do it to help them. I feel that makes sense. So what we'll do is we'll draw one. And adjacent to this stack that would help them the most, probably be closest to my airbase, so they can, whoop on the airbase. So we'll place it there. Of course, place it 0, but that's all right. All right, that is the first turn. Let's see, do we want to do another turn, or we just want to call that as a turn? So let's go ahead and let's knock out one more, okay? So kind of wrap it around. Phase 1, strategic phase. Go ahead and roll. See how many. And by the way, we did finish with 2 strategic points on our turn. We could technically spend them, I think, on getting our unit back. Hang on. Let's see. For instance, Emperor's Pride. Spend 1 SP to move 1 Japanese unit from the eliminated pile into the reinforcement pool. It doesn't say when, but it does say we can do that. So let's do that. So our 2 will drop down to 1. So that 1 eliminated unit we had, we'll go ahead and add him back into our pool. So no big deal. We still had 1 that we lose. You start over. I've asked this question, the designer, and actually it was the game developer, Russ Lockwood, has been answering my questions. Doing a great job answering all my questions. So anyway, I have 1 SP left. I lose that, so it goes to 0. Now we go ahead, new turn, phase 1, strategic phase, 2d6 plus 6. Whoa, 17. That's awesome. So, all right. All right, so we're at 17 strategic points. So we're going to not do all kinds of crazy stuff this turn. So, nice. All right, let's do some activations here. So let's go ahead and we're going into the Japanese CEA, Chinese Expeditionary Army Mobilization phase. So the red on white. Let's go ahead and spend 1 SP to activate Nanchang. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so we get 4, 4, tank, and a 1. Let's go ahead and put that 1 as the garrison for sure. And we want this, I want these guys. Put them right here. Help us out. There we go. All right, we'll spend another SP. Go ahead and activate Fuzhou over here. Or Fuzhou. Fuzhou, probably. All right. 4, 4, and a 1. Go ahead and stack them adjacent. On top. There we go. All right, let's spend another SP. We're at 14 now. Let's go ahead and activate. Let's see, we did these two. Let's activate Xinjiang. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's kind of grab a bunch of them out and hope it's 4. All right. Boom, boom. 4, 4, and a 1. That 2 is stuck on there. Too bad, but yeah, it's part of the garrison now. So, boom. And we'll add these and make them adjacent. All right. Let's go ahead and spend another SP. Let's activate Wang Zhao. 1, 2, 3, 4. Ooh, tank. There we go. Love getting those tanks. You get that bonus tank die, so I don't know with your SPs really, but you get that bonus tank die. Very nice. All right, put them on there. Okay. We're at 13 right now. So what we'll do is go ahead and call it for this phase, the CEA mobilization phase. We'll go to the KA, which is the black on white, and we'll go ahead and activate Kai Fang. That costs 2, so we drop from 13 to 11. And we get to go ahead and pick 3. And these are the 3 I picked. I swear I picked them. And we'll place them adjacent. So, all right, now we'll go on to the Japanese movement phase. So we got our initial movement from them. But first, we're going to do the operational maneuvers. I think you can do them in any order. I assume you can. The operational maneuver, remember, these are the stacks you've already spawned. The ones that spawn, they get a free movement as part of their mobilization. The other ones, you have to spend an SP to move. And we're going to go ahead and do that now. So, 11, go ahead, drop down to 10. We're going to activate this stack here. Go ahead and move this stack. And during the operational maneuver, you only get 3 movement points. You don't get 5 or 7 like you did during the initial move. So 1, 2, 3. So we're on track and everything, clear terrain, so it gets 3. Cities don't matter for movement or combat. Not in this game anyway. So, and then let's go ahead and move them, or rotate them so we know we moved. Perfect. Spend another SP. Let's go ahead and move this. Actually, that's part of him. Let's move this stack here. 1, 2, 3. Oh, so close. Dang. Spend another SP. Activate this stack here. 1, 2, 3. Right here. You're getting close. Getting close. We'll spend another SP to activate this stack. 1, 2, 3. And we'll spend another SP to activate this stack right here. 1, 2, 3. And I think everyone else will get to move as part of the mobilization move, other than obviously our stack that's chilling on the airbase, but we want to stay in the airbase because we want to, keep it. So, yeah. All right, so we'll finish up our movements with the initial mobilization moves. So remember, they get 5. The red on white get 5. The black on white get 7. So see, this is already here. 1, 2, 3. Oh, I should start on the other side. Well, actually, 1, 2, 3, and then 4. But when you cross a river, it ends your movement, so it stops right here. That's fine. Either way, it's fine, I think. So what if I had started him here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, I would end it there anyway, so no big deal. All right. He's going to go ahead and activate. He'll move 1, 2, 3. And then he has to stop here because he is now adjacent to this Chinese stack. As soon as you move adjacent, you have to stop movement. A little bit of a bummer. It's okay, though. Let's see, right over here. We'll do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. up here. 1, 2, 3. Oh, he's kind of stuck there. Yeah. 4, 5. Yeah, let's move here. And you can move through stacks during movement. That's kind of a bummer. A little bit of a log jam right here. Traffic jam. All right, and then our last one is the KA up here. They get 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You can move here. All right, that's it for movement. Yep, everyone who wants to move, everyone who can move has moved. Go ahead and move our stacks back. Again, one of the more exciting parts of the Hex Encounter experience on video. Watching people manipulate stacks of counters, right, guys? So any good movies lately? Or any good play? What games you guys played? Tell me below. All right, there we go. Okay. Oh, sorry. We're back in. All right, Chinese action phase now. Roll for Chinese airbase responses. So again, just like before, any of the air bases that we haven't captured, so we'll capture there, we're start seeing. So now they're down to only the 7. What I do though, just to mark it off, is I mark off that one just to show that that's the 7th one, or the 8th one, I should say. All right, so closest would probably be, say, this one. So 1, 2, 2 hexes away. So he's gonna go ahead and roll. So 2 hexes away. He's gonna go ahead and roll. Sorry for my dog barking in the background there. He's in the house and probably sees the mailman or something. 2 hexes, we go ahead and roll on our chart. Distracted me here. 2 hexes away is Fierce Resistance, which rolled a 2, which means we'll draw 2 counters and place them right here. Ooh, 5. 5 and a 2. Place them there. All right, now let's go ahead and activate this airbase. This stack is only 2 hexes away. So go ahead and roll. That's also Fierce Resistance. Roll to 4. Let's draw 3 counters. I'm going to go ahead and draw our 3. All right, and place them in between. So they're definitely going to intercept our stack there. And then there's this one's probably the next closest airbase as well. Let's check. See, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's one or that. So it's either that or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's either this one, or this one of our stacks. Remember, that are closest. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on a die roll. So right here, it's going to aim for him, which will probably be one of these stacks right here. Probably right here. Be the most advantageous to them. Again, I like to do the most advantageous. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 away, which is on the determined resistance. Roll to 6. That's 3 counters. Ooh, brutal. All right. So our little pool here. And draw 1, 2, 3. Whoa, 8. Oh boy, that's gonna be a good combat there. Let me tell you. All right, so he's gonna go ahead and spawn right there. Should drop these without wrecking all these stacks. These fat fingers. There you go. Now we'll check for, he clearly is close to him. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 away. So that is determined resistance. You roll to 5, that's 3 counters right there. As you can see, you instantly start really ramping up how many units are on the map, on the board here. So 1, 3, 3. Okay. And we have, see, this airbase right here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Too far away. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yep, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. He's right there. He's close enough. It's 7, so it's just close enough. So you're going to roll for light resistance. You roll to 3. That's 1 counter. So go ahead and place 1 counter right here. And that is it. Everyone else is too far away. There's 2 other air bases down here. They're too far away, so there's not going to be any response from them. All right, now we would look, and any stacks that did not just spawn, we would see if they're adjacent to Japanese units. If they're, that didn't just spawn, right? So they've been here. If they're not adjacent, they would then move up to 2 hexes to become adjacent. However, as you can see, adjacent. They're all next to my units, so no worries there. So they're not going to move. There's no Chinese movement that's going to take place. Now let's go to the combat phase. Let's go ahead. Let's do some fun combats here. Let's go ahead and do... well, okay. Now let's go ahead and do, from our air base, we're going to get attacked a lot. I don't even know if we should do a combat. I mean, they're going to fight us no matter what anyway, so let's go ahead and just sit tight and we'll just take the attacks and we'll see what happens. We'll save. We have 6 strategic points, by the way, so we're going to be sitting pretty. We're going to use those during our combats for sure. So let's sit tight. Well, I see it's a mandatory, isn't it? I didn't even think of that. It's mandatory, so he has to attack. Well, in that case, let's go ahead and attack this stack right here. What is this stack? 5 and 2. And I was committed to the attack before, don't worry. All right, so we have 10 versus there. 7. So, yeah, let's just do an attack. We have to. It's mandatory anyway. I forgot for a second. I was like, wait a second. No, I have to do combat. It's mandatory. If you're Jason, it's mandatory. So, all right, start off. Starting die for each side. We have no tanks. Strengths, we have 10. They have 7, so we get that die. Now we'll check for air support. All right, looks like they win air support. However, I'm going to spend a strength point to gain air superiority, so we're down to 5 to get that die. So, 3 to 1. I'll roll it. Ooh, tied. Exhausting win. So, top is tied, and then I have more. So that's an exhausting win, which, remember, means we each eliminate our weakest. The rest of their units go back into their pool. And we stand strong. There's no advance after combat. Although, with it being the airbase, I would not have advanced after combat anyway. I would have stayed on the airbase no matter what. So, advance after combat is optional, thankfully. So, all right, well, that was our one combat with him. Let's go ahead with this stack. Let's attack that stack because I'd like to eliminate him if possible. Oh, that's right, the tank. Forgot about that. Nice. All right, although he's a strong one. So, all right, let's start off. 1 die for each. 1 die for each to start. Tank die. I actually do have a tank involved, so I get that tank die. Yay! Strength die, unfortunately for me. They're at 8, 9, 10, 14 versus my 8, so they do get the strength die. Now we'll roll for air superiority. Or, air support, I should say. I win 6 to 1, so I get their air support. So let's go ahead and roll. Combat. All right, my highest is a 4, their highest is a 3, so I get a decisive victory. So I get to go ahead and eliminate their weakest, which is the 2. And then the rest of the stack moves into the reinforcement pool, and I get to advance after combat, which is very nice. I'll go ahead and advance my stack down to this hex here. So, all right, attack, and I can flip. I mean, I can rotate them to make sure to show that, like, yep, these guys have attacked. So, as you get more and more units, right now it's not that hard to keep track of, but as you get all these stacks that start coming down, you may want to do that. So rotate them like that. So there, to show that these both have done their attack already, because remember, it's mandatory. So, all right, last one that I have to do, or I can do, I even should say, is up here. Let's go ahead and attack down here, because there would be across the river. I don't want to do that, so let's attack down here. So, all right, so 1 each. 1 die each combat to start with. No tanks. They win the strength battle because they have 8 versus my 6. So they get the strength die. I'll check for air support. All right, I win air support. So we're even right now. Yeah, let's go ahead and roll. It's even. Ooh, 5, 6. So don't like that because